Hello, party people, and welcome back to the Eternal Dawn. It is I, your captain, Straw Hat Lucas. Today, I'm joined by the crew. I'm going to let our cook go first and introduce himself, as he is Mr. Vexus, the Lurking Legend, and he will give you guys the rundown on how the stream is going to work today. Vex, you want to tell these people what is up?
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Vexus, Lurking Legend. Y'all just call me Vex. I'm super happy to be here. Basically, what we're going to be doing here is spitting our takes on the four of the major factions that are undoubtedly going to play major roles in the final war of One Piece. If you want the real rundown real quick, basically I'm going to win. These guys are all going to fight for second place. And chat, let us know.
You don't even know.
Chat, let us know who you're swinging for. But in my ring, my corner of everything, I'm gonna be repping the Blackbeard Pirates, and I think I don't have to say too much, but I'm pretty hype.
Next up, Mr. Knack Reacts, our wonderful helmsman who made a poor choice in his representation today. Go on and tell the people who you're representing today, Knack.
The most powerful and all-encompassing faction across One Piece. I will be speaking on the Marines and why nothing's ever going to change in this world.
Cool. So, O'Hara, there'll be more countries like O'Hara. Good to know. Good to know. Thank you, Knack.
Yeah, wow, Knack. This guy's a genocider, am I right? Next up is the historian. Guys, but real quick, warning, there's going to be a lot of slander this stream, a lot of agenda pushing, a lot of nonsensical humor. Get ready, because this one's going to be fun. But yes, last but certainly least, the historian and first mate of my crew, Mr. Kube of the Red Sea. How we doing today?
Yo, what up, guys? Man, I'm excited. So for me, it's a bit different. Since Robin is right now busy in Elbaf, she's asked me to represent her, to rep the Revolution Army. So get ready to get enlightened.
I don't think that's going to be the case at all. All I think is you're going
to
wait.
You're going after Robin? Okay,
no,
Lucas, good to know.
I'm saying that you're just going to be sitting here looking east the entire stream. I don't think that's going to
happen. You notice I put him looking east on the thumbnail for the meme.
Did you throw some ellipses up as well?
Oh no, I should have. Yeah, but no, I'm excited. I'm hype. Obviously, we all love each other. We're all crew. We're all Nakama. We're all family, and we love the community. And we respect all of your takes, chat. But if you say anything other than Blackbeard, you're wrong. It's fine. I don't know who's getting the ball rolling. Who's trying to spit their takes first on the significance of their faction in the final war.
Okay. Well, I can lay out a few that I think are absolutely going to happen come end game. These are fights that I think the Marines are going to be involved with, no question. Right off the hop, maybe you guys tell me your thoughts about this, but I think Akanu faces off against Dragon come end game, and that is the fight for the Revs and the Marines. I think there's also the Green Bull and Sabo matchup in there as well. So what do you guys think about the Marines versus the Revs in that situation?
Shoot. Coming out with the admirals. That's crazy. Yeah. It's a lot of people are wondering if we're going to be seeing everybody all on one battlefield, or if we're going to be seeing it split across multiple different locations, two fronts as far as the final war goes. I could definitely see the world government and the Revs kind of being off doing their own thing while we have like a battle royale between pirates and whatnot elsewhere, maybe. It's interesting. I don't know how that matchup plays out, because we haven't seen any major feats from Dragon at all. Something I'm going to be repeating multiple times during this. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I think in all actuality, when it comes like to the newer admirals and stuff, Lindbergh solos all of them. So that's just a point towards Cube, I guess. But he has Dragon. That's a big loss.
This is crazy. Lindbergh?
So I'm going to jump in. I could see a matchup, end game, with certain Marines, which I do like the Dragon and the Kainu one. I do think they're going to scrap, but I think the real fight will be between Sabo versus Akainu, because I still feel like it was Oda's way of telling in Marineford when Akainu said the Magu will always be superior to the Mera. It kind of makes me feel like those two Delphrut's abilities are destined to fight again.
Yeah.
So I also
did
feel like
consider
I can
that as
see
well,
Akainu versus
but
Sabo.
My argument to why I don't think Sabo faces Akainu, and this is just based on their worldviews, would be Sabo's and Fujitora's clash of worldviews. Fuji absolutely believes certain people are above other people, and Sabo thinks everybody is equal. It's just like a complete clash of ideals. I do like the idea of the Mera fighting the Magu again, but I don't think that's his fight. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that's his fight to take.
I think I could see it going either way, like with Sabo being kind of the face for the Revs right now, and Dragon operating mostly in the shadows, if at all. And then with Akainu kind of being the face of the world government at this point in time, because God knows where Kong has been, God knows, like what the Goroi say, or Emu, they don't even know Emu exists for the most part, but like, I don't know. There's so many absent figures all throughout your roster that, I guess Akainu is top dog for all intents and purposes, right?
Yeah.
Well, to be realistic, I got him at the top of the Marines powerhouse. I think Oda was pretty clear about the strengths. You know what I mean? I don't like to see the Marines winning, but they are a formidable force, and a lot of these fights will be interesting. I have a few interesting ones, but I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking.
Yeah, well, I think that when it comes to the Marines, especially when it comes to their top dogs, it'll have to be top dogs that take them out, right? So obviously, the man who will become king of the pirates, Buggy D Clown, will be the one to take out Akainu. He has nothing that can go against awakened Chop Chop Fruit.
Okay, let's.
Listen, he fails upwards. It only makes sense for him to fail to the top and pinnacle of the power system of One Piece. Oda would do
he's gonna lose
and you
the fight,
know he would.
Is what you're gonna say?
No,
we're talking about
something
fights.
will happen. Maybe Downdy Stairs makes an appearance and Akainu falls down on him while he's fighting Buggy or something. But Buggy will technically win the fight. So I got two things out of that.
Buggy's going to be Power King. Buggy fails upwards. So Buggy loses the fight and still becomes Power King.
Listen,
so he
guys,
lost the fight.
Listen, you guys chose to give me Cross Guild. Get ready for the most absurd Buggy takes you'll hear all day.
Lucas, you do realize that you're out of context because it's about matchups. We have no problem if Buggy, for some luck, becomes Power King, but he's not winning his matchups. That's for sure.
I don't know what you're talking about, dude. I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's the type of guy who needs to command people to fight for him. Like if he was to fight in front of his crew right now, they would leave. They would abandon him.
Nah.
I mean, look, with the Marines, specifically with the Marines and especially the admirals, there's been a lot of narrative groundwork that has been placed with opposing ideals of justice. And so when we look at matchups, I think it's important what you had said about the different worldviews that Sabo, who is again unarguably a top dog, facing off with Akainu, and there is but to go against that, there is the narrative groundwork of the Magu versus the Mera, and so I could see that going either way. When it comes to Buggy, we have seen no legitimate justice that he holds. That's a huge motif throughout the admirals. So
especially for the
I feel
like fights.
Yeah, and when you even look at people who have left that position or turned it down, Garp has his own justice, and Kuzan, formerly Aokiji, has his own. And I think that even those individuals who aren't shackled to the admiral position are kind of still narratively set up to have their matchups that are based around that. So I don't think Buggy has any dog in that fight whatsoever.
Nah, whatever, man.
Do I think he'll win? Whatever. I don't know. For the memes, yeah, sure. Buggy solos the Marines, but I don't think he's actually gonna fight any of the Marines.
I don't believe.
Right.
We'll see.
Buggy will show his chops in leadership, and that
I see what you did.
You're right.
In that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His chops. Yeah.
By leading, the the GOATest team of all time, Crocodile, Mihawk, eventually.
Well, he'll probably win a daily
backfight
or some other childish game or something, but
no
fights.
Yeah, to stick to the Marines, and we'll get to the cross guild much later, so stick around for that, guys. But to stick to the Marines and answer some of the stuff that I'm seeing in chat right now, we got a friend of the community, friend of the channel, Absolute Goat, the lonely mage himself, asking about Kube. Do you consider Kube a top dog in your rosters? Like we've seen recently, obviously he's been battleship bagging it up, and he's got some flexes. But in the serious scope of the final war and end of series, barring no time skips, let's assume that it's happening relatively soon, right? What role do you think Kube actually plays?
I honestly think that
I
he'll
give him the
lead.
Kizaru matchup.
That's a good matchup, man. That is a
I
good
didn't hear.
matchup.
Who did you say? Who did you
Kizaru
say?
abandoned his ideals and his
And Kobe's
companionship,
someone who
and I
sticks
think
with them.
Kobe is going to come to the decision that he can step in front of Luffy, and I don't think he could stop him, but he's going to have an opportunity to try, and he's going to decide that it's not what he wants to do, and he's going to stand to his relationships. And then you have Kizaru, who chose to abandon relationships to follow the Marines, and then Kobe, who stuck with Garp and his relationship with Luffy. And then you'd have this clash of old versus new.
Yeah, I like that a
with
lot.
With all this infighting, then do you think you'll really have time to participate fighting with the rest of the factions?
This is the thing. Like I was going through these, man. And some of my fights are like I see maybe something happening at Impel Down between the Blackbeard Pirates and Magellan. Like maybe Shiryu and Magellan. But I don't see a lot of Marines getting into it with the Pirates right now. Like it seems they are square on against the Revs or their own factions.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys see like any big Marine fights between the Straw Hats like that have to happen? I know Kanu versus Luffy, writing's on the wall, but
listen, though, I think Kobe will take the Marines. Basically, I think he'll be like the liberating factor of inside the Marines themselves. They won't concede to piracy, and he'll lead them against the pirates in the big final climactic battle. But I think that he will convert most of the Marines over to the ideology of sword. Honestly,
I see Kobe's main leading, and authoritative positioning being after the final war, after the dust settles. I don't see him having any more rank significantly now than he does in the final war. It's only after that I think he'll actually rise up above. Sorry, go ahead, Kube.
Yeah, so it's not really a challenge, but it's more like to add more to it on, with especially the Marines with Kobe, especially how Kobe's writing, it's very interesting. People that Kobe interacts, outside of the main story seems to be people who also interact with Luffy. With X Drake, he's the one who made X Drake into a believer to Luffy. He's on the ship with Vivi, with Shiroshi, with Rebecca, and and he's leaving his guard down. I could see a situation where Smoker and Kobe teams up in their matchups.
Yeah,
because we've seen recently Tashigi is very close to Almepo and Kobe on that Hashinosu thing. She was always with Almepo, so I could see a thing where when Kobe will have his matchups, his partner might be Smoker. They'll decide together.
Yeah, but you see, the issue that I have with that, as far as considering the Marines as a serious endgame threat, is what the role that I kind of see Kobe and Smoker, two people who obviously are very prolific in the series, even not don't mind the lack of screen time. They are very important narrative figures who we will see in the endgame, right? But both of them are conflicting with the bulk of what the Marines are. So again, this leads me back to that whole infighting question, is are we even certain they'll be batting for your team? You know what I mean?
Well, there's no other way to say it. There's been a point of the Marines to build them up as this conflicted group of people who have been misguided from the beginning. And come the end of the series, I don't expect the Marines to be looked at as an enemy at all, but more so that there was bad actors amongst them. So realistically, a lot of these fights, we're talking endgame, but I think these are the steps to lead into endgame, and we get our final setup pieces, because I don't think Fuji fights for the Marines in the endgame. I don't think that Magellan is going to fight for the world government in the endgame. I think all these things have to happen before our final battle. So when I chose the Marines, I kind of went into it knowing that, but I do have an interesting one for Smoker. And what if he faces Kuzan?
Before
he's
we
packed up.
Before we get to that, real quick, I do want to shout out Lonely Mage. I do agree with you. As talking for endgame battles for Kobe. Shout out SSJ Cody in the chat. But in-game battles for Kobe, him taking out Evita needs to happen. I agree 100%. Even if it's just a small, like real quick, he pieces her up. I need it to happen because he promised her at the beginning of the series he would. But yeah, Aokiji is packing Smoker up. I'm just gonna throw that out there right now. Oh my bad. Kuzan is packing.
Yeah, Aokiji is his dead name. Like let's be respectful to the man.
That's true. It's true.
Go ahead.
That Smoker doesn't stand a chance against an admiral. But
Also
we get Kuzan's true motives in that fight, and he walks away without throwing a punch.
That would be pretty
for
big.
me. Because I do definitely see if without there's ever gonna be inner conflict and there'll be something that happen in Marines, but let's say that they stay together. I do see a definitely end game between certain cross guild members and Marines of the Shishibukai. The Seraphims are based off the Shishibukai that the Marines are controlling. The cross guild the writing's on the wall. I definitely could see a Kobe versus Burgess, because it's very interesting how Burgess is written in the story. Yeah, and I could see Jesus Burgess versus Kobe. You know, the strongest man, and Kobe with this crazy strength and his connection to Luffy. I could see.
Going through the fights, I didn't honestly think about any of the Blackbeard fights.
Dude, what did I say? Burgess? I'm stupid. That's the Blackbeard Pirates. I could see Kobe fighting against what's his name, Mr. One.
Oh, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, totally.
Mr. One. I'm sorry, I don't know why I said Burgess. I meant Mr. One.
Yeah, I feel like Blackbeard and Kobe are like tight. I don't know why. They just don't argue very much.
I don't think they are. I don't think they are, man. Did you see
Nah,
how they
man,
reacted
Blackbeard
to each
loves
other
Kobe. Blackbeard loves Kobe. He's like,
Lily.
every time I see you, I win. It's like, he's coming around, kid.
You're my
I
lucky
think-
I'm
charm,
loving
kid.
it.
I think legitimately, it's so hard for me to speculate. Cody. Shout out to SSJ and Cody. But, it's so hard for. It is difficult. My God, it's so hard for me to speculate Kobe's significant role in the end game, because so much of what we've seen from him is kind of fence sitting. Like in Marineford, he was conflicted and overwhelmed, and obviously he's probably come up with his like emotion sensing, like kind of what Isa had going on. Obviously he's probably had major development in that front, like he did with his on the physical side of things. But I think that the sheer fact that he has the bonds that he does with Luffy, and that Sword is already like on the verge of like resigning from the Marines and the world government as a whole and things like I can see him not he's going, like, I feel like most of his punches in the final war will be pulled. He's not gonna actually be swinging for your team like whatsoever. That's kind of like I have a hard time. Yeah, I have a hard time seeing any major matchups for him where he doesn't just try to like talk no jutsu his way out of it, you know what I mean?
Bingo.
Pulls the Naruto.
Yeah. So
Sakazuki.
We've covered a lot. So I kind of got to touch on a lot of the fights that I do think are coming from it, but I wanted to propose a rematch, and then I wanted to propose an interesting one that I don't really have a lot of backing for. So the rematch would be Sengoku versus Blackbeard, and I don't think Sengoku wins.
Oh man,
What do you think?
ain't nobody winning against my boy. Like,
But I do see that fight happening. Like, I see it. Sengoku's on the way to try to rescue Garp.
he's just gonna be getting a Hito no Mi punch card where he's like, all right, I knock you out, and then I knock him out next, and then I knock him out next. Like, I don't know. Like, it's that's crazy.
I did. I thought about that fight this morning. I said, "Man, that could actually happen." Like, ooh, and it'd be a rematch because the first time he tucked tail and ran, and this time he'd probably shut him down. You know what I mean?
I think that like with some of the older generation in the Marines, like Sengoku and Suru, I don't know if I see them in active combative roles in the final war. But like as tactical assets, that's like what Suru is mostly known for. Is and so like and Sengoku's retired, right? Like it was as retired as he could be. They wouldn't let him go because they need all hands on deck because they be struggling, you know, in the after time skip. Yeah. You guys have it rough. You guys have it rougher than ever, especially with like Buggy's whole posse, you know, putting targets on your back. So I like there's so much that is shackling the Marines, and there's so much public expectation, and you have eyes on you more so than ever. Even when the entire world saw Marineford unfold, I think that there's going to be parallels in the final war to that, and the Marines are just going to be painted in the worse and worse light until a new regime is, until there's new groundbreaking, you know, on that post-war is when I believe that's probably going to happen. So like legitimately, I think that there's not going to be any right decisions that could be made by the Marines, and somebody who is of tactical enough mind, and especially somebody who has, you know, multiple other tactical minds in their corner, is going to be able to read you like a book. So I don't know. I'm having a hard time thinking that you guys are taking any W's in this, respectfully.
Yeah,
well, as a faction, no. Individuals, possibly. But the Marines themselves have to fundamentally change. Like that's what we've been working towards.
Yeah, the biggest W a Marine can take is leaving the Marines in the final war.
Right. Well, this is my last interesting fight. I thought of this one actually today, and I think it'd be awesome. Fujitora versus Rob Lucci. The leader of CP0
easy.
versus an admiral.
Easy Fujitora's taking that.
What a good fight.
There ain't no way, dog. Like,
it'd be so good. It'd be so good.
So all your matchups are infighting? Is that what you did tell us?
Yeah, basically, right? Except for Shiryu versus Magellan.
Yeah,
no, Kanye versus Dragon and Green Bull versus Sabo. They're like locked in though.
Oh my god, that's crazy, brother.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just gonna say this about Green Bull when it comes to that matchup, man. You know what you do to a tree when you want to take it down? You chop it down. You know who has the chop fruit? Buggy.
Okay, get out of here. I think it's like
he's gonna break me to pieces. What do you mean?
Trust me, we will get there.
I can see it. It's coming.
I think it's interesting because there's so like, you know what they say, and this is a very common idiomatic expression throughout, you know, history across different cultures, is you're only as strong as your weakest link. Would you agree, Nak?
No. We're not getting
okay. Because I'm just saying, narratively, you know, if we really think about it, what were the first major villains that we faced in the series? You know, in the anime, what was it? Alvida, who's currently on Cross Guild, first Domino to get knocked down back in East Blue days. Easy work. And then we have Morgan.
That was pre-smooth fruit. That was pre-smooth fruit. This is slander.
Cope all you want. But I'm just saying, like, we've been seeing y'all's dominoes getting knocked down all the way since back in the East Blue. 5 chapters into this story. Narratively, y'all are cooked.
No, shit. We got one of
the
the best allies in the whole
against the
manga.
Okay, I'm gonna say it now.
We got
hands down.
I'm
Kizaru,
sorry, Lucas.
Akanu, Kuzan, they've all murked the Straw Hats.
Listen, let's just judge all of our leadership, the representation of each of our faction. And I'm sorry, Lucas. Everyone has some flaws to our leaders, but at least ours doesn't bootlick whenever he's in danger.
I have 3 of the strongest leaders in the series, bro. Yeah, Crocodile
Mihawk,
the greatest swordsman in the world,
dude,
and the future pirate king Buggy D. Clown.
Buggy will say a God's Knight, he will start kissing his feet. The moment he'll say a God's Knight, someone stronger, he'll start kissing his feet.
Jester, I agree. Zoro is better than Admirals.
Nak, I'm sorry to keep hammering this home, but like the biggest L you're taking for your presentation is you didn't mention Helmeppo, who solos Mihawk. Let's be real. God, no, but
he's not the matchup I have for Helmeppo. I'm just gonna
it's
throw
okay
that
to
out
be
there
wrong.
now.
That's it's fine. That's what most of this stream is gonna be. It's okay to be wrong, guys. But
yeah, especially you, Vex.
Oh my god.
Another dream I have, if there is definitely a Marines versus Cross Guild, I could see Helmeppo because of the people we've seen in reaction piece in Hashinosu. Paradise. I said, would it be so fitting that when Elmepo deals with the Cross Guild or Blackbeard side, that he deals with his father, Captain Morgan, who's still location unknown? Because I said this
I
is
don't
to be
think
his, like,
either Cross
the
Guild
end-
or
the end of his
Blackbeard
arc.
wants Axe and Morgan on their team, Goob. I'm just gonna throw it out there.
No, I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's a part of them, but in that whole storyline, who does he interact with? He could be a side. It could be like Dressrosa, crossing path with Bellamy, who is in neither both sides. You know.
Axe and Morgan is Emu confirmed.
So I could,
Hey,
I
that's
definitely
more
see
points on my
with
side.
Almapo's story. I could see with Almapo's story before he gets his peak fight that he's going to not only deal with his own trauma but beat up his father. Showing that he's
What?
no more the person he was before.
That won't happen.
Listen,
Yeah,
are
I
we here
could
to
see
talk
that.
Cross Guild
The-
right now, or are we still on the Marines? That's what I'm wondering.
Well,
I have a peak
Cross
matchup
Guild
for
is toast.
Helmeppo.
you
No,
haven't
they're
even
not.
seen Cross Guild since I sent the Seraphim there. Just saying.
Listen, if there's any faction that's going to make it to Laugh Hell alongside the Straw
You
Hats,
haven't even
it
seen
is
'em.
Cross Guild.
They
Doesn't
have
matter.
not been in the story since I
Does
sent the
not
Seraphim.
matter.
Literally
Does not
wiped
matter.
them out of the plot.
What did
I
Buggy
said
say?
the
What was the
Seraphim.
last thing that Buggy said? What was the last thing that
Oh,
Buggy
God.
said?
What was he crying
Let's
and
go
snotting
for
and
it.
pissing his pants?
Doesn't matter. He made a declaration to go for the
Okay.
ultimate
Look
treasure.
Lucas,
to go for
Lucas,
his
hold on, hold on.
captain's
Kid said-
treasure. Oh no,
Lucas,
no.
Kid said the same thing before he challenged Shanks as well. It doesn't mean anything saying that I will become king. Dude, you can say as much as you want. Buggy is not
Kid's
not
a
it's not
fraud.
him.
That doesn't mean anything. Buggy
No,
goes out
Buggy
there
and Kid are
does
very
it.
similar. Oh, they're
No,
very
they're not.
similar.
Not at
They're
all.
very similar.
Not at
You're
all.
not comparing.
Buggy echoes his captain, which was who? Who was it, guys? Come on, say it all together with me. Come on. Goldie Roger.
Cannot compare the GOAT, Eustace Kid, to
So
Buggy.
listen,
Whoa.
Also,
okay, guys, where are
Lucas,
we at right now?
Lucas,
Like,
Whoa.
let's bring
I'm
it
going
back
to
on
quote-
back on track.
I am going
Yes,
to quote a Cross Guild member, Mr. One, when he talked about Buggy, when he found out he was part of Roger's crew. Every crew has a black sheep. Just say. Even his
Don't tell
own
Zora.
faction doesn't believe in him.
Jesus fix.
Oh my god! But like, legitimately, so we talked a good bit about the Marines. Does anyone else have any other Marines that they wanted to throw some dirt on and slander before we end next segment?
okay.
Anything else you wanted to say, Nak?
Knack, listen. you
Uh,
have to-
Listen,
Give some
as
points
fun
for
as it is
Tashigi.
trying to... Oh yeah, no, I loved she. I wouldn't put her in. I don't even want to hear you guys talk about her because you may say something that'll upset me.
She's just gonna exposit. Like she's gonna narrate. She's gonna give us
polishing
the
swords.
play-by-play
Yeah,
commentary
no,
for
like-
the
like
final
like she did
war.
Hashinosu. She's polishing swords. She's cleaning her swords.
Is that what you call it, Q? Anyway,
Hey yo,
as far
The
as,
fact
fun
that,
as it was,
yeah. Dude, the
to
fact
talk
that
about the
Knack
Marines.
had all
Yeah.
this time to talk about the Marines and didn't bring up Bogard once, I agree, Will. Shady. Shady. Literally one of the
Bogard?
best swordsmen in the entire series didn't even
Who?
mention Bogard.
that's
Who?
crazy.
That's crazy you're
know.
saying who?
Wasn't
He
he
sliced
an
a gun
add-on
into-
in the live action or something?
Oh my god, I'm gonna
Oh,
fight
like,
this
there's
man.
a live
I'm about
action?
to pace.
That's crazy.
Dude.
He's got also, and Knack also has the strongest
He's
Marine.
not canon
in his
though. He was
roster.
from a movie or something, right?
I don't know.
What? I'm gonna fucking fight Knack right now, yo.
Yo,
Someone hasn't
that's
been
a-
reading his cover stories.
Oh my
Cover
God.
stories.
Someone's reading the OP scans.
Nobody
Oh
is
my
sending
God.
cover stories in the spoiler chat, okay?
But I don't know. So like the thing about Bogard is it's similar to like, you know, other people. A lot of people want to put on Fraud Watch, like Dragon and Mihawk, you know, some of y'all's biggest, you know, claims to fame. Tragic. Is that we have no feats from any of
Okay,
them.
little frog in
So-
the well.
I'm just saying it's hard to see what, you know, and speculate realistically what role you're going to play, you know, aside from looking east, you know, is like like how are you going to
Oh,
do
are we
anything in
on
the
the
final
Reds?
war? We have no groundwork on,
Oh yeah.
you know,
we're
what
toast.
you're capable of. So as far as Bogard, as far as Dragon, as far as Mihawk, I don't personally subscribe to the fact that they're frauds, but
Dude, I have
for
a
the
band
sake of the
made
agenda,
swords.
for
What
the
up?
sake of the agenda, I'm punching holes through every single one of your arguments for all of your biggest players right there. So I'm just saying.
Really,
Yeah, I
Vex,
heard
are you
about that
though?
Bogart guy. I didn't even think he was real.
Oh my god.
Oh man, Max over here slandering his own faction. You gotta,
Yeah, he
love to
really
see it. Oh my god,
is.
He wishes
he made this.
he wishes he was
it
a
was
Marine.
hook, line, and
What's his
sinker.
rank?
This was
What's his
Dude,
rank?
nothing but net.
Dude, I'm just gonna say it though, like, he did set himself up to fail when his leader canonically just sits on his ass all day. Like,
See,
I
look
mean-
at this. He can't even get it out, man.
The best,
I did.
the best of your, no, like literally the best people from your entire faction are currently on my island chilling. We got Garp in shackles and we got Kuzan just chilling. So I'm just saying.
Yeah.
he's yeah.
We already got our
You
dubs.
right.
It's time to start stacking out.
Where? The first instance of seeing you in the story is a massive L.
No,
Like
no,
the
no. Those are nobodies. That's like, that's like
That's
going
half.
to Buggy's
That's
side
90% of your crew is
crew.
fodder.
No,
Every
that's
Yes,
like
early,
the
every
Orlumbus
early,
crew
time-
is like, on
No,
par with Straw
every-
Hats. No, it's not.
every early time that we saw the Marines, they were doing shady shit. Nazumi.
Yeah, this guy's
Full
like a
body.
Nazumi apologist over
Yeah,
here.
right. Ask Sam Morgan. He
And?
said, and.
Like,
I'm
I
talking
can
about
see-
winning fights.
Also,
Okay.
let's not forget, the Marines were charged of Shishibukai, and they made the weakest pirate of all times a Shishibukai buggy. So they're also on watch for.
I mean, you guys are a faction that like is scared of like some clown's crew and also has to rely on several other factions because
And-
the Marines are separate from Sword. They're separate from the world government as a large. They're separate from Cypher Pole. You've got all these other people that you're like over here hiding behind right now. Like it's crazy, and
That's okay.
your main combatant is stuck on the desk. Couldn't do anything against like
Also,
Kuma.
Anytime you talk about infrastructure, I just want to remind you that Dragon just left Ginny there.
No,
That's
dude, I
different.
keep saying it again. I keep saying it again. You could say as much. I have as much case of saying that something happened. It's just Oda did not show what happened during those 2 years.
Guys, we're going
He
way
just took
too
2
hard
years.
on the slander right now. Let's get back on track. Who is presenting their picks next?
We were going a bit on cross guild, so wouldn't it just be logical we keep on going?
No, I'm
with
going
cross guild?
last.
Go ahead.
We talked about this
Oh,
before.
I see
scared.
how it is.
He's
Okay.
scared. Yeah, I mean, I'll spit unless you want to, Cube. You
No,
want
you
to
could go first. Yeah, you could go first, man.
Okay. All right. I've already mentioned, how narratively we've been knocking down dominoes for the Cross Guild since, literally the first arc and the second
Okay.
arc.
Blackbeard did nothing
We've been
until
knocking
what?
down
Impel down,
Marines.
but all right.
My boy was a smooth operator, moving in silence, planning and plotting, making the right call. His first bounty was over 2 billion. I don't think any of y'all can say anything about that. So I don't think any of the Straw Hats can say anything about that. This is a cold calculated machine right here. He's proactive instead of reactive. And when he does choose to be reactive, it's because it's the winning bet, like in Impel Down. Yes, Magellan is a force in nature, but we've only grown stronger since then. What have the Marines got on this man when I've got probably the best Marine in prison right now on my island? What have the Marines got on me when I've got one of the top admirals as one of my 10 captains right now? What have the Marines got on me when most of their most infamous prisoners of all time, they're all my crew. They're my lackeys. Like Blackbeard has been set up for so long to be the end game. This is the off-screen king. This is the narratively probably the single person aside from Luffy who has the greatest plot armor in the fucking story. Nothing y'all can say or do is coming close to my boy. I don't need to really speak too much on his crew, but I can, specifically with the recent infiltration on Egghead Island. Is just to speak to the smooth operations and machinations of this. He's a beast. He's insane with the things that he's got going on in multiple oceans, and he doesn't need an entire army to do it. And he's not stuck looking east while he does it either. This man's got like 10 cold, calculated, cruel villains on his side, which get shit done and aren't scared of
And they
anybody.
get soloed by the captain of the prison.
Listen, that was a different time. We're all strapped with devil fruits at this point.
Is it?
And
Hold on, no. Wasn't this the same crew that had to jump a 68-year-old man?
you're gonna act like he's just some normal 68-year-old man, are you?
It doesn't
Yes,
matter.
it
Not
is.
whoop slap.
But that's not even the first hero of the Marines that we had imprisoned,
Is
during
this
that
the
period
same-
of time. So
The same man who pissed his pants when Silver's Rayleigh showed up?
okay, first of all, Rayleigh's him. Rayleigh's my top one. So I'm not about to slander Rayleigh. Okay, but like
Sounds like
again,
a bunch of L's to
cold
me.
and calculated, and the only time he is reactive instead of proactive is when reactive is the winning bet. When you place a bet against Rayleigh at that point in time, you've got shit elsewhere. You've got stuff cooking in multiple other locations that you have to attend to. Even when it came, like, information is this man's main prerogative. When it came to even the Seraph pulling on him, like whenever S Hawk shows up at Amazon Lily, and he's just like, oh shit, that's a Lunarian. And he knew immediately before even drawing blades, before even like flexing, before anything like that. He literally knew what was up. When Zoro, who had already fought King, had no clue what was going on Egghead. So I'm just saying, like, this is the man with information. He has so many different things that he's thought about 20 years in advance. He's plotting, he's dubious and devious and mischievous, and I don't see any one of your characters being in a more significant role outside of like maybe Emu themselves, which I wouldn't consider a part of the Marines, as the world government is a separate entity.
I don't know. I feel like Fujitora may cause some havoc for quite a few of the Blackbeard Pirates. Not the back.
Nah, Blackbeard's just gonna suck that up,
cause. Whoa.
Yeah, pause. But now, like
What just
legitimately, and with the hacks that like
Is it
Law
what
has
just
shown us, crazy. With the hacks that Law has shown us, if you were to really legitimately ask me in a 1v1 if Law could take Blackbeard, I would, I would, and especially with the showing that we got on Winter Island, I was thinking that Law was in a pretty good positioning, right? This is somebody who just got done with playing a major role in taking down not one but two Yonko. And he got packed up by the off-screen
Yonko.
magic that this man works. And so, like, I'm just saying, like, it's like
He got
legitimately.
jumped by a gang.
Yeah, exactly. You're
Let's be
acting
real.
like it was,
None
it
of
was
the
a
rest
duel.
of them
Dude,
did
they got
anything.
jumped.
It was
two
just
people
Blackbeard.
that Blackbeard's crew has just jumped, and one of them, once again, 68-year-old man on life support.
The other one's a recovering.
Recovering from fighting
disease.
Big Mom, one of the most
victim.
powerful figures in the
No,
series.
no. He actually had like a blood disease, man. He went through a lot.
Oh,
They
yeah.
jumped him on recovery.
Yeah.
Y'all are
That's right, he was
dragging
in
it.
remission, bro.
Y'all are straight
There's
dragging
more
it. Now, like,
courage.
legitimately, like with Blackbeard, he didn't need any assistance from any of the rest of them. Like it was fully that last
Didn't
attack
need
that,
Doc Q to fly him
packed
in?
him up.
Well, that didn't help.
He's fine. Yeah.
Off-screen
That
hockey
is
is
honestly no
crazy,
detriment.
Malachi. Off-screen hockey is crazy. Let's go.
But no, like legitimately, regardless of what you guys want to say, like that's the calculated decision. If you gotta jump a fool, you gotta jump a fool. He's down with the down and dirty, unlike like some of the goody goodies like Kube, and he's understanding that you have to honestly, like, there are certain fights that are worth fighting and certain fights that aren't worth fighting. He's aware of his end game goal, much like Straw Hat Luffy, and he's set up to be the perfect foil to Straw Hat Luffy. There's arguably nobody in the entire series that is set up better to be the final villain outside of, again, like I said, Emu themselves, but I honestly see that being somebody else's fight.
And Buggy, the
Listen,
first real villain that Luffy fought, becoming the last,
I'm gonna
of
go-
course. Great parallels right there. I know the
Gags
love Star
aside,
Wars.
I'm not sure for most of the Blackbeard Pirates, because I think some of them we might get a Beast Pirate type of thing where they're not as strong as the strongest member in the crew. I could definitely see Blackbeard has like some allegations with Bonnie that he needs to answer to, because
I'm not here to defend that about him at all.
But I could see, at least I'll say this, at least I could see Blackbeard and Shiryu being in the last all the final villains.
Honestly, I
Those
don't
two.
even count Shiryu as a top dog. Like, I don't count like Pizarro as a top dog. I don't count Vasco shot as a top dog. Half of these people, they're just there to kind of fill out the ranks and whatnot. The people that I want to focus on the most, obviously the main man himself, Teach. One of the D clan members, like that's him right there. But then you've got Lafitte, who again, no major feats in the story yet, but I'm keeping a close eye on him. We've got Van Augur, who has a ridiculously cracked ability, and people want to meme that Usopp's gonna take him down. Like, we'll see. We'll see how that goes down. But Katarina Devon, Katarina Devon has one of the most like crucial powers, and like I can't wait to see how this plays out. And like legitimately, if I put any of these crew members, even the ones that I want to count out as non-factors, like that's crazy. Even if I want to discount like Doc Q and say that he's not really any major combative role or something like that, putting him up against most of the Straw Hats outside of like the top 4, I still think he's taking a W. Like at this point in the story. Because we just have seen such little bits of development, whereas these guys are over here like speed running the post time skip.
You do realize, Vex, that all Knack has to do is he has to set the Kaino on a ship by himself, and the Blackbeard Pirates are going to run again. You do realize that.
I don't know about that, Doug.
So who are your matchups?
I don't know about that, Doug.
You got the
I mean, legitimately.
That's his third devil fruit.
Legitimately, the crazy thing about it is that some of the top dogs, like I could honestly see them, like with Van Augur's Devil Fruit, I could see him like completely trivializing so many other very powerful figures. I didn't have like one specific matchup for him, but if you guys want to throw a matchup at me, I could tell you how it'll play out. But like we have so many different, we have like DPS, we have AoE and crowd control, we have like the plotting and mischievous side of things. We have so many different things covered with by the way, the single smallest crew here of all of these like factions. This is
Vex didn't make a list of matchups and now he's just filibustering.
I mean, we already saw like 1v1 isn't their strength. That's the point I want to emphasize here. You guys said it yourselves. I mean, hey, if it gets the job done, it gets the job done. You guys are sending entire armies after like 10 people over at the Marines. Yeah. So who's jumping who over there? So I'm just saying, like,
there's a difference between sending fodder and having 10 commanders that all jump people.
Yeah, one's better. That's the difference. Is like one gets the shit done. One actually shows results.
We send all those people, but only one of them engages. The rest of it's just for image. Sends a message.
We have the numbers.
I don't know, but like I am somebody who was very confident, getting out of Wano and into Egghead and things like that. That Law and Garp were two individuals who could very much stand as contenders towards most, if not all, of the top of the verse that were remaining post Wano. And guess who packed them both up? Regardless of the means, results show.
Knack, why didn't you bring up the Gorosei at all?
They're not the Marines.
They're the world government. What is same
thing?
Don't
count.
Yeah,
I
was going for Marines. Yeah, I could have brought up the Seraphim too. What are you gonna do? Straw Hats can't even fight them.
Especially not Sanji. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say that I do have someone that terrifies Blackbeard on my crew, on Cross Guild. That's Mihawk. Just seeing a Seraphim of Mihawk was enough to make Blackbeard sweat. So
that wasn't because it looked like Mihawk.
Oh, okay.
That definitely wasn't that. It was the Lunarian side of things.
Of course, the Lunarian
it's the
side
Lunarian,
of things. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because he's a man who's in the know. But like,
you think he's afraid of a toddler, Mihawk? I mean, the guy doesn't fight even as an adult. Like what?
But it's
I remember
like,
quite
it
a few
speaks for
Marines being afraid of
itself.
Mihawk at Marineford there.
It
Dak.
speaks for itself narratively that Blackbeard is like, regardless of any argument you want to make, like that's not going to cut through this man's plot armor. And I hate to fall back on that defense, but we haven't seen enough from him. We've seen a good bit from him with a few major fights, but we haven't seen quite enough of him going through, because he's the off-screen king. But that just speaks again to the quality of the, like, what Oda is setting up for way down the line. I don't see like people want to meme on Buggy, and I love Buggy. Buggy's a great character. Does he have any standing in any of these endgame matchups? No, I don't.
Yeah, of course
like,
he does.
legitimately, I don't
He's
see Buggy
Roger's
as
protege.
Cope. Yeah, I don't see him as like an actual combative
He has
role
clown hockey.
against anyone in the entire endgame. Like in any matchup in the final war, I don't see Buggy coming out on top outside of ass backwards.
Buggy
outside of ass backwards, I don't see him doing shit against none of my crew.
Buggy got shit knocked versus Orangetown Nami. So come on.
That's different.
Oh my
He's a young coach.
Sure.
Put some respect on
She
his
just hit him
name.
with a stick, man.
Doesn't
Like a
matter.
kid could have done that.
But I'm waiting to
Doesn't
see
matter.
the cook on Lafitte. And then I'm really interested to see what Katarina Devon does with Saturn's visage. Obviously, we know that that's a little bit obsolete as far as those in the know, but 99.9% of the world is not in the know right now, unless you were on Egghead or you are in Marie Joie right now. So it's still going to be a ridiculously versatile fruit and tool that she can use to sow just ridiculous seeds of chaos across all the seas. Like, they have never been in more full effect. They got York, who's trash, on their side now, but like still that's a Vegapunk. And, so that is an asset we have to also calculate into things. But the major player is something that not only I want to say is a huge flex for the Blackbeard Pirates, but is a huge detractor for the Marines, is Kuzan. Kuzan is insane. Kuzan is ridiculously powerful, like the battlefield control, the instant one tap hacks abilities, the crazy strength that this man has with and without hockey. Punching up battleships, not using any hockey. That was a whole part of the Battleship Bags training arc and things like that. So like, this is somebody who is at or above Garb level in prime, the prime of his life. And although I do not fully believe he's going to remain on Blackbeard's side for the entirety of the series, I think for the final war, we will see him at least at the starting line, still batting for Blackbeard.
Yeah, I think
it's a good argument. Yeah, there's a good argument for that.
I wouldn't be surprised if he turned tail and went right for Blackbeard himself, right for Teach.
And I think that'd be a great matchup. I think that would. I'm not here to promote infighting like half of your segment.
Wow.
I still think that would be a great matchup, and like legitimately with the off-screen king himself, I don't even know if Kuzan's gonna take the W there. Like legitimately, yeah. So like it's insane.
I think
because so many of these individuals, you guys are propping them up on some of the like, especially with the Cross Guild, mind you, you're propping them up with some of your other big punchers and your other contenders and whatnot. No, Blackbeard is the king of he is the captain of his own ship. He is top dog. He doesn't have to rest himself on anybody else's laurels. That's what I'm saying. This dude could solo, but instead he's choosing. And the thing is like, tactically, strategically, the fact that he's getting some of the most powerful devil fruits from across the world and putting them on these people who are, for all intents and purposes, loyal, except for maybe one of them, to the very bitter end. This is it's a stacked crew. We only need the 10, and we'll take you all down. The only thing that's actually gonna get through Teach's plot armor is Luffy's plot armor. I'm convinced.
No, that's why we couldn't pick the Straw Hats. Yeah. No, I mean, Blackbeard is probably in game, but I see each and every member of his crew getting dropped one by one, as he doesn't care.
And he might do it to cannibalize upon that and, build on his own strength, making him an even more formidable foe. There's something, he's so devious and he's so dubious, I could see that happening, which just kind of speaks more to his end game positioning. So I mean,
Good,
like he's willing to have these dominoes fall to lead to an ultimate success, but we haven't seen it yet.
No, all I'm hearing is a bunch of lip service.
Coming from the dude who
Okay.
mentioned clown hockey. All right.
What are you talking about? I
Clown
never once prove to me. Give me a timestamp right here, right now. 2 seconds. Where I said clown hockey. That sounds crazy. That's like saying Arlong
All
has
day.
blue hockey or
Oh
something.
no, dude. Yeah.
You
go back
literally
5
said it like
seconds.
5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Or dragon,
5
or
seconds ago.
dragon, or dragon having East hockey. Like
East hockey's
Dude.
crazy.
Dude, you're just creating stuff.
So now
Actually, I now
everybody will
understand
get
why
into
you
the
represent
filler
Crossfield.
section of this stream where they just have to completely make stuff up because they have nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
The big
says the guy
dogs
whose
have
faction is
spoken.
definitely going to be the worst, like showing in the final war.
No, it'll be
Oh,
okay.
standing when the final war's over.
It
just won't be the
completely
same
reformed
members.
in something. Yeah, I'm not saying completely reformed in something entirely different, but okay.
Good companies continue on.
Oh, okay.
Employees come and go.
The blue hockey,
Bro.
Malachi, agree. Blue hockey guru. That's right. Arlong gonna join Cross Guild. Same with Dofi. Same with Moria.
Oh my god.
Those are
Oh,
my
here
big
we go.
players, babies.
Here we go.
They're not even
Arlong.
part of your team.
Whatever.
They're literally not even on your team. You're
Arlong
coping
is a
so hard.
literal slave at the top of the world that gets rode on by celestial dragons and treated like a friggin'
You mean intern? We don't use that word here
No.
now. No. He said no.
No, I don't.
So do you have
He's
any
literally got
Oh my
like
God.
chains and shit on him.
do you have any matchups to present though, Vex? Like specific matchups you
I
think
mean-
you want to see from the Blackbeard crew?
Blackbeard versus anybody but Luffy. He's packing them up at this point. But like legitimately, that's the I had to reserve it. Like Blackbeard versus Luffy. That's the matchup. And
Yeah.
yes, he's most likely going to take the L. But damn, is it going to be one of the most glorious moments in all of anime manga history. Nobody
Love to
has been
see
set up like
Kuzan
this, man.
Hanu rematch.
Well,
That'd be
I would too, actually.
awesome.
That would be insane.
That'd be so bomb.
And
Yeah.
Kuzan not holding back because they aren't professionally tied together anymore.
I could see a Lafitte
What?
matchup.
Do you think
Lafitte-less?
Kuzan was holding back and the man lost a leg? I mean,
Oh my
that's
Yeah.
God.
a
I
little,
mean,
Of course.
he's standing
so,
up
like,
business.
You saw, he took out Garp, who was gonna kill Sakazuki. Yeah, he was holding
No,
back,
they jumped
dude.
him. They jumped
Oh,
him.
okay.
people want to talk about and like one of our absolute favorite, one of our goats in the community, and Dak Sake has been doing a full continuous series on the 1v1 Blackbeard versus Straw Hat matchups. And
Yes.
I could see where a lot of the groundwork is and things like that, but like from everything that we've seen so far, they're not the 1v1 crew. So specifically, I don't see I don't know. People want to say that nothing is more fitting than Van Auger versus Usopp. I can concede to a lot of the groundwork that has been set up there, but like legitimately, Van Auger is a better utility piece. Like think of him as like a bishop on the chessboard. Like a bishop by itself isn't going to do shit against like a queen or like a knight if they're positioning well enough. So it's like it's when all of the pieces come together on the battlefield that true chaos ensues, and that's how they take their W's. So yeah, I mean, like legitimately, until Usopp gets some glow up, which we need from him this arc, he doesn't stand a fucking chance against Van Auger. But I can see Van Auger also playing a vital role supporting several other individuals as he did on Winter Island.
Slanderous.
As far as Shiryu versus Zoro, I'm gonna be completely real. I hate Shiryu. Like I
You're the
didn't
only
pick.
one.
I wasn't the first pick. I didn't choose the Blackbeard Pirates. The Blackbeard Pirates chose me for this representation, but I'm glad they did because all I need is Blackbeard. I don't give a damn about Shiryu. I don't think he's taking Zoro at all. And I'm not really like somebody who puts Zoro on a pedestal like that. I love Zoro, but I love Sanji too. But I don't love Shiryu. I don't think he's gonna be like a top dog, when it comes to this crew at all. Like I think that the utility of a lot of these other Devil Fruit users is what is going to prove to be the most useful thing. And in a 1v1 matchup, utility versus powerhouse doesn't really look too good. But again, these guys aren't going to let you catch them solo.
Yeah.
That's not their style.
Cube, I believe you had to
So
take you
I-
on Berserk.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah, I have a matchup for the feet. I'm gonna bring up a Straw Hat because I just think that in terms of their skills and their history, they pair one another. Lafitte versus Brook. I could see that fight.
Yeah, I can see
So
that as well.
one used to be a knight of his kingdom. They're both on the West Blue. They both they move it very fast in a way that their steps can't be heard. They're both hypnosis. You know, one has a
Mhm.
cane and one has his cane / sword. So I could see a sort of matchup between both of them.
I have a matchup for Blackbeard. Actually,
Good thing you got cross killed.
no,
This
it's
is like
no,
Bogart or some shit.
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. It is a cross guild member. This did not make it in my 5 matchups list, but it almost did. And for story reasons alone, if any of the cross guild matchups against the Blackbeard Pirates happen, I think Crocodile versus Blackbeard would make the most sense, considering Crocodile took out his goal. Because one of Crocodile's like only goals that we know of in the series was to take Whitebeard out, and he was robbed of that by Blackbeard. So it would make sense he would want to take some kind of vengeance out on the Blackbeard.
You're underestimating Crocodile's goals.
The dude wants to make money. He's a bag chaser, bro.
He wants to run this world. He wants to be what Doflamingo was.
Yeah, and to take out an emperor like Blackbeard, let's go. Then Cross Guild takes up 2 emperor spots, Crocodile and Buggy. Let's go.
Wild.
Offspring
Yeah, I don't
King
know.
gets
I don't see
offspring
that
by
matchup.
Croc.
There is no cross guild if Crocodile leaves.
I don't
Like-
see that matchup going too favorably for your boy.
I don't either,
for
if I'm being
Croco Boy
honest.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's especially which we've seen. The only devil fruit we haven't seen be affected by Blackbeard's fruit or zones. We don't know how it affects them, but we do know that it can definitely eat a Logia. Like it's no problem.
Yeah, and I mean, I think it's really interesting that like you were mentioning before, is like if Kuzan does eventually turn and try to face Blackbeard, because somebody set up like Kuzan or like Luffy, who's done significant training, sans Devil Fruit, and even without Hockey, and so because we do understand that he can just cancel out your Devil Fruit, so through Hockey alone or just completely through brute strength is how you're going to have to be somebody who takes this man down. Because one way or the other, you can tell me somebody with the most cracked Devil Fruit on the planet, and he's just gonna negate it.
Yeah,
he is
exactly.
hacks on top of hacks. Blackbeard is insane. He's the only living person through all of history that we have confirmed to have 2 Devil Fruit powers through some means or another.
Well,
And
Crocodile does have
nobody else
Hockey.
has that feat.
This was confirmed.
Yeah, off screen.
Yeah,
but,
still there.
I don't know. Right
Right
but
next to
regardless-
Arlo's
I
Hockey.
I just want to touch on that a second. I think there could be something we can dig into this, because Kaido was the one who claimed that Hockey is what matters in this world, and I
Yeah.
think it's because he witnessed someone with Blackbeard's fruit previously either awaken it or become so in tune with it that people with devil fruits just couldn't even activate around him. He didn't even have to touch them. I feel like this man could walk through and just cancel devil fruits. So without Hockey, you weren't touching this guy.
Could be Zebek.
Now you can speculate on who it could be. Yeah, I've thought about it before too. It could have been Rocks.
Yeah,
but
Buggy's dad.
There is no answers for that. So the
Actually-
idea that Kaido witnessed someone with this fruit is still a cool idea, in my opinion. The fact that he knew Hockey was more important than anything, because there always will be a Yami fruit out there. You cannot rule this world with devil fruit powers alone, is kind of what his idea was.
So I had a similar interpretation, but I don't think it's the Yami per se. I think it could expect to obviously for Kaido God Valley and just saying, because he specifically name dropped Roger after he said that, and it kind of makes you think of he saw many Delphin abilities everywhere, and Roger was just squashing them one after the other with his Hockey. Delphin abilities were just stopped. So I could see the Yami being in the correlation, but I do think as well as he just saw pure Hockey coming from Roger.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Kube. If we're ready to move on from the jumping gang,
From
are you ready
Pete.
to give your from the jumpers? Jumpers gonna jump. Podcast. Cube.
What?
It's a Cube.
I'm sorry.
Are you
at
ready
least we
to
fight our
give
own
your-
fights, and we don't
Hey,
get
at least everyone
civilians
else
to do it for
brought
us.
actual matchups. Cube. Do you want to start with your Revolutionary Army matchups?
So, yeah. So I'm gonna rephrase it because it was brought up during the Marines. I do definitely see. I do see at least a sparring between Sabo and Akainu with the whole Ace and Luffy thing, because Luffy still hasn't let it go. It's very clear. He's just, Akainu's not in front of him, but if he sees him, he's outside. And I could see something similar to Sabo. But I do see, and this could actually be like his exit to the story if he's going to die, pass away in the story. Dragon versus Akainu. So I definitely see this matchup. But I won't lie, I do feel like the commanders, keep talking about the Gods Knights. I don't want to bring up the Gods Knights because I do think there'll be matchups. We know nothing about them, but I do feel like the commanders of the Revolution Army, the 5 main ones, are going to face off against Cypherpole agents.
Summers versus Gabon gotta happen too.
What does that have to do with the
that's a
Revs?
different matchup.
He
Yeah.
said he was talking about God's Knights, and I said this is the only fight I know has to happen is Summers versus Gabon.
Oh, okay,
I was like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
How is
I
that
definitely-
relevant? No.
Lucas is locked out. It's fine.
No, I am. But like, I mean, I am locked in. My bad.
So the 5, the commanders you're talking about, like
Yeah.
Lindbergh, I'm sorry,
Morley,
I'm forgetting.
Bello
Morley-
Betty, Karasu, and Ivankov. They're the 5
Yeah, the
army
only ones I
commanders.
care about is Bello, Betty, and Karasu.
And
That's my boy.
I could even see on the specific with the Cypherpole fight, if it's going to happen with the 5 commanders, I think as well with Belobetti, it's not just going to be facing the 5 commanders, it's going to be facing everyone in the village, everyone in that town ready to, fight against their oppressors. However, Karasu, I do have a Marine matchup as well. I kind of could see him fight against Green Bull.
Nope.
Their ability would be a good matchup, and they specifically showed at the Reverie start that Karasu was doing damage to, but he was never, he was doing other stuff at the same time. So I could see with, Green Bull's mantra that if there's a Rev that face off against Green Bull, I could see Karasu.
I mean, we already saw Morley like bear hug him, right?
Yeah.
That was crazy.
As well. So
No, I think
And-
that. So for me, I have a hard time seeing Cypherpole playing a major significant role. That's why we really didn't even feel like including them in the main factions we're going to talk about today, because Stussy is probably off doing her own thing. God knows what Lucci and Kaku are up to, but like the rest of them, I don't know if how significant of a role any of them are going to play. And we have seen that some of the revolutionary commanders are able to stand in the ring with admirals. I'm not a power scaler. I'm not going to say admiral level or like YC1 or like anything like. I don't give a shit about any of that terminology. But I think Karasu is probably my single favorite of your combatants. His power is insane. He's a lot more experienced with said power than Sabo, who's another one of your big punchers. But training as long as he has, directly with Dragon as well. And we don't have a lot of feats from Dragon. We got a secondhand feat in the Dragon Claw and Dressrosa. So, I mean, I'm willing to say there is some power there behind Dragon, but I'm still going to try and punch holes in as many of those arguments as I can if you bring them up. But like, Karasu is a good person to lead with. You were smart about that, Cube.
Yeah, no, and I'll be honest with you guys. I do want to bring up a Dragon, but it's as much as I have as much right to say what I'm saying as you guys, because it's like Guard before Hashinosu, or even Mihawk right now, or Shanks before versus Kid. There's a lack of feet, so I'm mostly repping Sabo being the face at this skirt thing, and it's very clear that that's what Oda's preparing. Sabo being the next leader of the Revs. But I will say this: I think let's not forget one other goat who I think he's going to have an important fight, and I could possibly see him fighting against a God's Knight, and that's Ivankov himself. I could see Ivankov fighting against a God's Knight with his history of them and all the lore dump he's talking about, God's Knight and Salsa Dragon thing. So I could say
I don't know the members of the Gods Line, so I can't say per se. Oh, I could see Ivankov taking on Summers, definitely.
Ivankov takes on Shanks' hot sister. Tekken got it right. It's crazy.
Turn Shamrock into Shamla.
Bro, that'd be crazy. Yeah, I think Ivankov is a crazy sleeper pick as well, because like they were kind of flexing back in the Impel Down, era of things where they're like, yeah, I can break out whenever I want. Which that's crazy, because we saw Luffy as well as a lot of the Blackbeard Pirates struggling against Magellan, and Ivankov wasn't even sweating. So it's an interesting pick. I don't know. We haven't seen any, I'm convinced Morley and Karasu could stand in the ring. I don't know if we've seen enough from Ivankov, legitimately.
So for me, I will always promise it's pre-time skip. But the showing in Impel Down, especially in Marineford, where both Jinbei and Ivankov never showed like fatigue at the end, you know what I mean? And they kept, backing Luffy and being in the heart of the thing. So I'm not gonna say, oh, Ivankov is definitely much stronger than Jinbei, or both Jinbei and Ivankov are stronger than most people in Marineford. But that's why I could put Ivankov as high as Jinbei at least. They never slowed down. It was like another, it's like another stroll in the park. And I want to bring up someone else. I think that person's not ready yet. I think that person has much potential as Kube, not in the same scales, because we know Kube is supposed to, to be like the next version of Garp or Garp, era type of, Marine. I could see Koala having much more of a glow up with, with her backstory and everything, and her being, a human that's able to use Fishman karate. So I have big hopes for Koala. Possibly Koala versus Gonko.
Koala could probably scrap already. We just haven't seen much of her.
Yeah, we haven't seen
She
enough.
got confirmed.
Just like her leader,
She just
Beatless.
confirmed. Crazy. She has confirmed Fishman hockey because she trained with Hack and in Robin, like that little Robin flashback. So I mean, it's interesting because I'm fully convinced, especially narratively, that with Oda not showing so much of these individuals and them not being introduced until later on in the story, like as of yet, that even their air quotes fodder level of combatants are going to be a step above most other normal level combatants that we see in most of these other factions. The thing is that when you got a faction with no fodder, what do you got to worry about? But I think that as far as base Marines, they're all kind of useless, and anything below Vice Admiral level, we're not even sweating about in the final war. I don't think, right?
Was that Slander?
Was it? What? Are you catching strays right now? But I think with the revs not being fully utilized until so late into the game, I can only hope that Oda is going to show them as fairly formidable, even the lesser of their ranks. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm going to add something else. And this is, something that cannot be disagreed. It's not about actual fighting feats, but as Dragon, I'll just bring up that we're missing more about his feats and what's his true level. I think he's him, but we have nothing yet. So it's just, hopeful thinking from my end. But I'll say this, he's a much better leader than Buggy is.
I don't know about that. Dude spends all of his time looking east. Doesn't his right hand and left hand are never near him.
And one swoop attack, in one swoop mission, they went against the Celestial. He sent his people against the Celestial Dragons, and 8 nations rebelled against the world government.
Okay.
All I'm gonna say is, well, that time, Buggy was cleaning crocodile shoes.
It doesn't matter. Guess what? With words alone, Buggy united 3 different crews and hundreds of people to go for the One Piece. So
listen, Dragon doesn't even need words. He can do it with a ... You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude, that's power.
I gotta hop in on this, okay? You just said in one plane, and then you listed off all of his accolades. Man, that took 25 years. What are you talking about?
He plays chess, that's why. You play checkers, he plays chess.
He plays leaving people behind.
Game. That's why he left the Marines, man.
Oh, I'm gonna make a change to this world
Marines,
25 years later.
Giddy at Marie-Joie.
Yeah, what does
Dude,
he do? He gets
I have a
Cobra
question.
killed. He gets
Who-
Sabo blamed for murder, and then an island disappears. Like he
Refuses
didn't do
to
anything.
help Kuma with his daughter.
Okay, I'm gonna bring this up. Anak, I was never gonna bring it up, but dude, you have to. We love Garp, but where was Garp during Goa Kingdom? Because it was Dragon and his people that saved the civilians. Where was he? Oh wait, let me guess. Oh, and now let's not forget, it would have been saving as O'Hara. They would have taken out
Garp's a bum.
civilians.
He never followed his
Okay.
orders.
Oh, God.
Next
That's
turn.
We
crazy.
haven't forgotten about O'Hara. That's why we
No, the
exist. because of
second-
O'Hara.
The
It's
second
because
a
of you guys that we
marine
exist.
is taken off the battlefield, Mac is so quick to throw them away. That's crazy.
Dude,
Oh,
Max
garbage.
channeling
Useless.
Fritz the Ditz right now, making making Marines great again.
I'm telling you.
God.
People, now you've
No,
seen.
man,
this
listen.
is what.
Hey,
Okay,
listen. I
have
have
to
a
tell you now.
well-oiled machine. I have intentions, and I know what I'm doing.
Where?
You don't follow the orders, then okay,
Where?
you
Yeah.
can. I don't care.
So,
Bro,
g- g-
you
now
got a whole
people-
division of
So
people
people-
You
who
guys-
don't want
now
to
you see
follow
it.
You
orders.
guys have
so they put in
literally come
resignment.
into the world at the end of my reign. I have literally had it for 800 years. It's been
Dude,
under
it's
my
because
belt.
of
Like,
you.
It's
It's
all
because of your
good.
ineffectiveness. And people now
I
have heard it.
promise.
This is the actions of the Marines. When you
One little
start calling
speed
them
bump,
out,
and everybody
they
throws
go
us
after
out.
you. They're bullies, man. The Marines are bullies. They take your money,
is
they
crazy.
destroy your homeland,
No,
and then they say, "We fight for justice." Yeah, right. You
You
fight for
can't,
nothing.
you
You
can't
stand for
trust the
nothing.
media, man. They're making us out to be the bad guys, but we
But
are the
the
ones
Buggy
who
is
held
much
stronger
everything
than
hold
together.
on, hold
the
on.
Marines.
Sinby
The
is
media's
right.
on your side.
Sinby is right. Y'all couldn't even protect T-Bone, one of the best Marines
Who?
there was. T-Bone. Oh, this motherfucker.
Even
Oh, this.
Lucas, like that, they don't even care about their own people. They don't even care about their own people. You see that, Lucas? They're like,
yes,
"Oh,
I already
we don't
explained
forget
You
our
it.
know
people."
who does?
No,
We don't
You know who
forget our
does
the
care about his
funniest
own
part.
people? Buggy. Buggy
No,
would
not
never
really.
Buggy
send
didn't
one
even
of
know
his
the
minions.
name.
No, he
No,
cares about
Buggy
himself.
didn't even know the name
Oh, yeah.
of half his
Yeah,
people.
Buggy.
Like,
Doesn't
okay.
matter.
Remember-
They love him.
Buggy spent like 6 weeks at the beginning of the story chasing his asshole around the sea. What are you
Doesn't
talking
matter.
about?
Yeah,
Remember-
with Gaimon.
Lucas, remember-
Chilling with
remember when
Gaimon,
we-
the goat.
Like, oh, give me
Remember
back
the
my
panel?
pants. Give me back
No,
my
guys,
legs. Give me back my
So
body.
I'm sorry, Lucas. I have to bring
Where's
this up.
Garp, Knack?
Before Crocodile pulled up,
He's
when
a
we
bum.
first got the
Already told
panel
you.
of the Shishibukai being hunted, remember what Buggy said after his speech in his inner monologue? Great. Now I'm gonna get those scrubs will be fighting while I'll escape.
Listen,
That's
y'all
what
can
Buggy
say
is.
whatever you want.
He'll
Y'all can
sacrifice
say
That is what Buggy said.
whatever you want. The leader of Cross Guild is the person who came the closest to killing Monkey D. Luffy. Just saying.
That's Kaido.
Cope.
That's
Just
Kaido.
saying.
Yeah,
That's not
Just
Buggy.
saying.
That's Kaido.
Kaido
Nah, if he
succeeded.
would not have been struck
He
by
literally
lightning,
succeeded.
no, if he wouldn't have been struck by lightning, he would have chopped the head off, dude. You guys are just you can't understand the true vision of
Dude,
Bucky. the
Magellan as
clown.
well.
The
Your point doesn't
immortal.
work.
Bro's
Magellan
trying
as
to
well.
scale. Bro's trying to scale East Blue Luffy against Onigashima Luffy when Kaido actually killed him. That's
I'm
crazy.
just gonna say
Yeah,
this:
man.
is Kaido a Yonko? Not anymore.
Because of Luffy, not because of Buggy.
Why is
Insane.
Buggy a Yonko? Let's just question this. Why is Buggy a
Or the other-
Yonko?
Because
Yeah,
he
exactly,
leads a huge group of men. He ran one of the most successful underground crime
So a
businesses
misunderstanding.
in the
So,
world. Hold
so
on.
a misunderstanding.
Hold on, you asked me a
A
question.
misunderstanding.
You asked me a
Yeah.
question. You asked me a question. Let me finish. May I finish? May I please finish?
This bro's
He's
Are you
ran-
in
full-
the tree yet?
He ran one of the
He's
most
going full Donald.
successful criminal enterprises in the world, right? With Buggy's
How?
delivery service. What do you mean how?
That wasn't successful. He got
Yes,
bought
it
out.
was.
What are you talking
Yeah.
about?
No, he didn't.
It
Someone
failed.
bought in and then beat him up. There's a difference. And he is still
Sounds like a
above
failure to
them
me.
in the eyes of the world government. In the eyes of your
A
people.
misunderstanding.
Buggy
Look-
is
look
above
at-
Crocodile
Misunderstanding.
and Mihawk.
No, but Lucas, you,
This is all
I
Morgan's,
think
man.
you said, dude, you said something wrong, Lucas. I think you mistaken Buggy for Doflamingo.
Why? In what way?
Successful
Doflamingo is a
criminal
successful-
organization.
Have you
That-
seen
that-
the
that's the-
amalgamation of
no, that's
people
Doflamingo.
that Kaido
No,
had?
that's
That was
Doflamingo.
not a success.
No, I'm sorry, dude. Buggy's organization was a clown enterprise.
And that's just another win for
Hold
me
on.
because Dofi is going to join Cross Guild.
No, he's not. You're
Yes, he
joking.
is.
Literally,
Look,
Didn't-
I'll turn off my camera.
completely
Buggy-
forgetting the fact.
Listen,
Buggy's
Didn't
delivery
Buggy
service
literally-
Look
defaulted
at
on
the
all of
panel.
its loans and had collectors
Look at
come
the
to the
panel.
front door and take over his business. This
Yeah, and
is not a
Buggy's-
successful business.
Doesn't
Buggy's
matter.
delivery service also lost its best mercenaries to the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. They just left because they're like,
Bam.
yeah, we're good.
Buggy the bum. Yeah, Jack got it right. Oh, that's Cube.
No, that's Cube. Cube's never right. But look, okay,
Oh,
guys,
that's
when I turn
Cube.
off my video, you will
doesn't
see a
matter.
panel, right?
That
On that
literally
full page,
doesn't mean
everyone on
anything.
that
I can
page-
find a panel.
It doesn't
I can
matter.
find a panel
It
of the
doesn't matter.
warlords everywhere, like all throughout the story. That doesn't mean
Ah, it doesn't
jack
matter.
shit to your argument.
It does. Look at the lineup. Look at how they're arranged,
All right,
my
show
man.
me. Show
And
me.
not only that, I
It
already
doesn't
did. Look at
matter.
the stream now.
You're coping.
I'm watching.
Nah. On that page, right? The full page. Guess who's there? Other in-game characters like Dragon.
Oh, you're talking about that picture where he's crying in the rain. Yeah.
See, Simmy gets it. Simmy. Yeah, because his heart was
No.
broken by his best friend. Okay? Now, are y'all ready to hear the best
Grow a
matchups
pair.
of the entire stream? Are
I
you?
mean,
Are you all ready?
I ain't never cried about Shanks. Just saying.
Oh my god.
No, but you cried for Kid?
Holy shit.
No?
I didn't.
Wanna cry for
Not
Kid.
what I
Dude's a
heard.
bum
Not
too.
what I heard. No. So
Hey.
we had a chat member guess how I structured all of my picks for today's stream, actually. And it's narratively, I think Sword and Cross Guild would have a reason to match up. So the first one I'm going to throw out there is Mihawk versus Tashigi. Mihawk is washing her.
What about it?
There's no, she's going to be like, oh my God, is that Yuru? And as she's distracted, he's going to be like, oh,
You're crazy.
no, I'm not.
You're just wrong.
No, I'm not. It makes sense. She
When
is
has
the
Mihawk cut down a woman?
rival. We don't know that he has it, man. He's not known.
We
for
don't know
being
he
a
has.
Nice guy. We don't know that.
He's
not
nice to
known for-
Perona.
That don't matter. That don't matter. Look at
She's a
Zoro,
nice
who
girl.
was taught his way of Bushido currentmi by Mihawk.
So
He
he
cut a
was nice
woman.
to his enemy too. That sounds like a big old pussy to me.
Nah. Mihawk versus Tashigi, and it's gonna
It
go
sounds
down.
like Zoro showed up to get the business and go throw hands, and Mihawk said, "Nah,
Listen,
I'd rather be a friend."
nah, Tashigi is a good matchup for Mihawk because, right? She is basically Zoro's rival within the Marines. There's also the ties between Kuina. So if he takes
No, she's
down,
not.
yeah, she is. Let's be real. Oda
she's
knows
not.
what he did. Oda, you know what you did.
Rival?
And listen, it
Rival?
doesn't matter. Yeah, well, okay, maybe not rival's the best turn. Counterpart within the Marines. What do you want me to say here, Knack?
His end piece, maybe, like
maybe.
his side piece.
Oh, what the fuck
I
ever.
don't see it as a rival.
We all know
Lucas-
Odin's daughter and Zoro be banging. Anyway, that's not the point here. It would make sense giving Zoro more of a reason to go after Mihawk after the last time they saw each other. They were playing house in Muggy Kingdom. Is if he took down Tashigi, who Zoro does have some semblance of respect for. Just saying.
This is your
Oh.
matchup?
It's
This
crazy.
is the first matchup. They get better, don't worry.
This is
This
your
is-
matchup? This is
No,
crazy. I
listen,
hope.
Yeah,
listen.
it's like, oh,
listen.
I got Mihawk, and he's gonna take out Tashigi.
I have 2 for Mihawk, so don't you worry. Yeah,
Oh my
and then check
God.
this out. Vex, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this one. Das Bones versus Helmeppo. And
Oh yeah,
Helmeppo-
let's just feed him all fodder.
Let's
No,
just get him. Let's
Helmeppo
just pack him up,
gonna
give him
win.
an L.
Yeah, Helmeppo is
Exactly.
gonna win. I came knowing that Helmeppo was gonna win. You wanna know why Helmeppo wins? Because he is Zoro's true in-game opponent. Hashtag Helmeppo is the best swordsman. Duh.
Good
Couldn't put
answer.
him up against Mihawk, he'd win.
Honestly, I'm gonna say this, Lucas. We have to give it up to Mihawk. You know, he's known renowned for his duels with Shanks, and his peak is fighting Tashigi. Man, he's really made it. Oh my god, Mihawk has really made it in the game, dude. Oh my god.
Wow.
I respect you. I respect you, Lucas, for not having to try to make Mihawk carry the team, but putting him up against Tashigi is crazy.
It makes
It's
sense
nuts.
narratively. I don't know how
Crazy.
yet, but it does.
Okay.
Sick hashtag,
Tashigi-
to be
no.
honest. Thank you, Goofy. Listen, guys, I'm carrying this whole stream. They all know it.
Let me guess. Let me guess. No, wait, Lucas. Let me guess. Crocodile will face Arlong.
No, I have one
Oh
for
yeah,
him too.
man.
don't
I
worry.
could.
Yeah, let's give everybody in Cross Guild an East Blue enemy because that's all they can deal with.
No,
Exactly.
Next up, Mihawk
God.
versus Shanks, and he wins. Because Shanks is only
No.
half the
Yeah,
man he
yeah.
used to be.
Nope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wild.
We already talked about this last week. They stare across from each other, and they're like,
It's
"Oh,
observation
you win
battle,
again."
yeah. It's observation battle. It's just chest over and over and over and over again. But this time Mihawk wins and it breaks Shanks, and then Zoro has to fight Mihawk. I don't know. I'm pulling these out of my ass.
I'm gonna
half
laugh
A lot
if,
of-
if we get to like the showdown and Shanks is like, "Oh, you think I'm half the man I used to be because I got one arm," and then he like Ashura forms and has like 9 arms Zoro style
Yeah,
or something,
right.
and just like completely dog walks it. Like I love Mihawk, and I'm gonna be completely real. I do put Sakazuki, Mihawk, and Dragon right up there as some of the top of the verse, even though we have virtually no feats from like most of them, right? But I ain't putting them over Blackbeard. That's crazy.
Oh, you know what? Since we went against Vex for Blackbeard, I'm gonna say this about the whole Shanks versus Mihawk. Twice Mihawk had a chance to fight Shanks. One time he'd rather drink with him than fight him. Another
Yeah,
time
because Shanks was scared.
Just say. Yeah, no, it's the other way around.
Just saying. No. Listen, who was the one that offered drinks? Was it Mihawk? No, it was Shanks.
No, because Shanks
Just
had
saying.
pity. Oh, you're scaring me, so let's just drink.
Just
It's after Mihawk
saying.
refused to fight. He just felt bad for him, you know? He didn't want to go back home without a drink, you know?
Listen,
So,
okay.
what parts of your presentation are not bait?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm waiting for.
You got any
None.
real fights?
I do actually. My
He said
last two do have some thought into them.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Yes, the last one is completely agenda based, by the way. I will say that, but
Okay, so more bait.
no, not
Let's go.
bait.
It's literally
my,
bait.
my fourth one is this one makes sense to me narratively. Crocodile versus Smoker, because Smoker was unable to take out Crocodile in Alabasta, so to see them come together again to fight, and then Crocodile once again kills Smoker,
I can see
or
that.
beats up Smoker.
I can see that.
Yeah. Nax shaking his head. What has Smoker done besides ride around on a fucking motorcycle for the past, I don't know,
Croc?
15 years?
Croc. Beating
Croc
Smoker.
took out a whole fleet. Where's Smoker's feats like that?
A whole fleet
Oh my
of wood.
god.
I'm listening. Of Marines. Of your people, my
A
man.
fodder. A fodder.
Fodder?
Yeah.
There were some.
Fodder?
There was probably some vice admirals or rear admirals on those ships.
No,
Yeah,
there
fodder.
wasn't.
You
They
don't know
have
that.
names.
You don't know that.
I do. We have
Oh
our
my
voice
God.
admirals. We haven't killed anybody or
No, I'm
fired
sorry.
anybody yet.
If you want to, you can't rag on Smoker for being off panel for a good chunk of time when like Crocodile got his hockey bloom in like a SBS or something. Like, I'm
Doesn't
sorry,
matter.
you cannot pull this out like you're smooth. Like
I
that's
can.
crazy.
I can and I am.
Nah, it ain't hitting. It ain't hitting, brother. Sorry. Like,
No, but I
that's
legitimately,
wild.
narratively, Crocodile versus Smoker makes sense. I could not say definitively who I think would win, but I think narratively Smoker versus Crocodile, like, because of everything that happened in Alabasta, and that was a kind of a turning point for Smoker's character as well, it makes sense that they will match up
So
once
what is
more.
Mr. One and Mihawk jumping to Shigi and trying to
No,
get a
Mr.
dub
One's
for your
fighting
team?
Helmeppo. I said that already, Dak. Listen, lock in.
No, but I will give you points. I can see Crocodile versus Smoker because one of the things that really triggered, and even in Marineford, it was still in his mind, getting credit for something he didn't do. So I do feel like maybe for his own honor, he'll have a chance to go against Crocodile and he'll face him. Because he was really like, he felt disrespected in Alabasta, getting a
Yeah.
promotion he never deserved. And then in
Exactly.
Marineford, even was shocked to see Crocodile again, and it was like he got
Don't
upset.
say
with
exactly.
Crocodile's face.
Cube just made your point for you, and now you're gonna steal it?
I said the same
No.
thing. What the fuck are you talking
No,
about?
you didn't.
Mac? You're
No, you
crazy, dude. You are crazy. You are legitimately
Oh yeah, exactly.
insane.
Exactly. Never even
Lucas
thought
is
of it.
gaslighting.
It's not my fault that you chose the
No.
weakest faction within the
Knack, knack,
final
knack.
end game.
Knack,
The winners.
don't worry. It's just Lucas
The
is costing
winners
us
of
Buggy right
nothing.
now. He's taking credit for other
We'll
people's
see.
actions.
We'll see.
Speaking of
In-game,
taking
That's
credit,
what
There'll be
cross
no
guild.
world
Hold on, hold
government.
on.
There'll be
That's,
no
that's
world
all
government.
cross guild does. That's all cross guild does is take the W from other people's fights and other people's actions.
Yeah.
They're not the people
yeah,
who
yeah.
took out T-Bone. They're not the people who are like, you know, like
Doesn't
they're
matter,
not
they
the
footed the bill.
citizens.
doesn't matter. They got the change to foot the
Okay.
bill, baby.
Yeah, so no,
Shit.
this is part of the chorus for Lucas's faction.
Exactly.
This
Uh,
is par for the course.
Shout out Grand Line Bound, the bestie. Go sub to him if you haven't yet. Dropping some major spice over there. Got to shout him out always, especially when we're talking about Smoker. But yeah, you guys are just objectively wrong. My last matchup.
Objectively,
Yeah, of course.
in a subjective conversation.
Shut up. Why are you using ad hominem attacks right now, Knack? This is crazy. I've done nothing. Done nothing wrong. My last
Dane
matchup,
done nothing
actually.
right.
Speaking of stealing credit. Okay, listen. Buggy.
Okay, listen.
Listen. Buggy fails upwards, correct? So I think it's only fitting that at the end of
you're
the
saying.
series, if he's not the king of the pirates, he's sitting on the empty throne because Buggy takes the credit for taking out Ibu.
Actually, by
Wild.
your logic, if
Chat, you
Buggy
can roast him
feels
for that one.
Nope, no need to roast because I'm right, dude. Everyone's
That's
gonna be like, did you
Blackbeard's
see it? Captain Buggy! He took out Nerona Emu!
No, I can see
can
it playing out
already
like
see
this.
it
Okay,
now.
Buggy gets his ass kicked so hard that it detaches from the rest of his body, flies up to Marie Joie, and lands on the empty throne. That's the only way he's sitting on it.
No way. No way, you're wrong. Everything in Buggy's story has led to this moment of him sitting on the throne that he
Everything?
doesn't want. Yeah.
Yeah, everything.
I'd like to remind everyone of the 40-odd chapters he spent chasing his ass around the blue.
That was actually a cover story, Knack. Fake fan. This dude's
Oh
a
my
fucking
God.
Still
fake
took 40
fan.
chapters. Like, what do you mean?
It's one of the
It took
shortest
the amount
cover
of
stories.
time
What do you
Luffy-
mean?
Luffy literally
12
crossed the
pages
entire
long.
East Blue and left, crossed Reverse Mountain, and got to Whiskey Peak before that man found his fucking trousers.
Yeah, Koofy's right. Buggy took out Whitebeard, dude.
Oh.
And
yeah,
at
yeah,
Marine
that's
Ford,
weird.
Buggy was one of the only people who got Whitebeard's attention at all.
No, he
Just
didn't.
saying. Yes, he did.
What do you
Luffy?
say? What do you
Yes, he
say?
did.
What do you say? What do you say?
Luffy wasn't there?
Nah,
He
quit
said-
taking the bait.
He said,
Like,
what an odd nose. But it doesn't matter because he still got
He
Whitebeard's
never said
attention.
that.
And he said, you're that, yeah, he said, you're the funny-nosed brat from Roger's crew. Yeah.
wild. What an
Zero
accolade.
acknowledgement.
What a
That's full
crazy feat.
acknowledgement. You guys are just mad
Yeah,
because you don't have
crazy.
anyone as cool as Buggy on your guys' crews.
Lucas,
No one who can
Lucas,
split themselves up
Lucas,
So you guys,
to that level.
do you guys want to know
I
the
just have to-
true,
I just have
the
one thing-
true
I just want thing to
behind the
say.
scene? Go ahead, Cube. Sorry.
yeah, Lucas, if you're being serious right now, seek help. Seek help.
I really do
So
think
you
that
guys
Buggy
wanna
will
know-
take credit for defeating Emu and sit on the fucking empty throne. I really do think that.
You guys want to know the true behind the scenes details is that Cube, you know, obviously he's the biggest Revolutionary Army fan. We gave that to him. And then I think
Yeah,
Knack picked
yeah.
second, right? And I was like, okay, I'll take Blackbeard. That's fine. I picked third. Lucas missed the meeting and got stuck with Cross Guild. And I think, I don't think it worked out for you, brother. I'm sorry.
Listen here. Brandon King is absolutely right. He is absolutely Buggy equals bug. The Gores say call people insects. Buggy is their final opponent. Takes all 5 of them out. Steps on them like the bugs they are. Because he
Look
has
at Roger.
Lily's devil fruit, which was the chop fruit. That's how she spread the poneglyphs. Listen, guys, I'm gonna get real tinfoil right now. This is all conjecture.
Oh, you haven't
But-
been? You haven't been
No, not
already?
at all.
This all
I've
hasn't been
rational.
already?
I have been rational this whole time. This entire time I've been
Timestamp it.
rational. Timestamp it, baby.
it.
Timestamp every single time I've been the most rational person on this stream. Never once has slander left my mouth. Nothing. Everything I've said has been solid factual evidence.
Wild.
So, Lucas, this is my honest truth, man.
Cody.
The moment that Buggy is gonna see the empty throne,
Next, try not to lose
Miljore's
it.
gonna turn him into a taxidermy. He's gonna turn his head into a taxidermy the moment he'll see him.
See, Smokey agrees
Oh
with me.
my
Stay
God.
cooking. That's what's gonna be Umu's downfall. He's gonna be reminded of Lily because Buggy has her fruit. And it's gonna give him trauma and he'll freeze up and then Luffy will take him out and he'll be like, you
That's
see
fake
though?
news.
Straw Hat Luffy took out Emu because of Buggy. Buggy sits on the empty throne. Guys, I
Again,
went
seek
straight
help.
fucking wild with this.
Fake news.
I'm so sorry, y'all. So now that we've all gotten through our factions, who has some like other interesting in-game matchups? I think we could actually open the floor for Straw Hat matches as well. Just here towards the end of the stream. I'm hurt. I won. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, Dak.
Cody. You just assume it's all about you.
I do.
It's so funny. Classic cross guild move. But no, I just, like, legitimately, I don't know. Everyone always wants to make the claim that, you know, all these other people are going to be joining cross guild. Like Law's going to join cross guild. Hell no. Moria's going to join cross guild in your dreams.
Yes.
Doffy's the
No,
only one I
Doffy.
could see potentially making sense.
No,
But
Moria
only
as well.
to benefit his no, it literally makes zero sense for Moria to join. But Doffy, I can see it maybe happening, but even then, like, that's
To give
not
him
a
a
given.
mobile base.
You know what I mean?
Legitimately,
It's
though,
not
to
a
give him a
given.
mobile base. That's why Moria would join. And plus, he
He already
needs
has a mobile
the
base.
army.
He
That's what I'm
literally
saying.
already
It's
has
to
a mobile.
give Cross Guild a mobile base.
Yeah, Moria has no reason to give that to them. He could just do
The
his
money.
own thing. Like,
Yeah,
So
but
guys, I
yeah.
have to
he
read
doesn't
the
give a
comment.
shit about money. What are you
Money.
talking
Money.
about?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, so guys, 2 seconds, I have to read a comment by Will of Dreams. I think he won the comment this today. Hashtag free Dofi from prison. He did have a fair trial.
bro, that's crazy.
I think he
My
did.
boy already
Oh,
let him
man.
out.
No, I think some.
But I
some-
don't know.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, I think speculating on like the Straw Hat versus Blackbeard matchups is always fun. May have to do a future stream about that actually, in full. But I think more interesting is who the Straw Hats could fight within the Marines themselves. I definitely think Luffy and Kobe matchup is gonna go down. Definitely think that.
I don't.
And I think Kobe's gonna get put in his place, just like in the start of the series. Kobe's at least gonna
I don't
punch
think
Luffy.
Kobe
It
versus him.
has to come full circle from that first punch.
Yeah, that may be. I don't think it'll be a serious fight though.
I see what you're saying. Because Kobe is specifically going after Luffy now. He straight said,
The
"I'm
one
sorry, Luffy,
I
but I'm gonna
do-
have to stop you from achieving your dream."
Yeah. He definitely said that, but I think that's kind of conjecture. Like, he thinks Luffy's the big bad guy because they also just got that paper from Egghead.
Yeah,
So, like, you know, he doesn't have the full story. I don't think they'll actually be that serious. But in terms of like Marine fights, I think it all comes down to God's Knights. Like the way I opened up, I think the Marines tear themselves apart from the inside before the end game.
I think so as well. Like I said, I think that Kobe will definitely be an integral part of that as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that it would be interesting to show because like they've obviously been set up to be kind of paralleling in trajectory, Kobe and Luffy since the very beginning of the story. And whenever it comes to those types of character pairings and whatnot, you have to obviously look at what's similar and then also look at what is distinct between the pairing. And I think that although Luffy is somebody who obviously is relentlessly pursuing his dreams and, you know, trying to fulfill the dreams of his crew, his Nakama, the people around him and everybody who feeds him and shit like that. And I think that Kobe, it's interesting because his dream is something for all intents and purposes that in the world as we know it is, it's not it. you know. Like, and
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see if Kube somehow ends up in that way that Luffy is changing the world to fit his dream, in a sense, like through plot armor and protag energy. Like if maybe Kube is somebody who changes his dream to fit that new world or something. I don't know how it'll all play out, but if he does climb up to an admiral position, I think what an admiral is will be significantly different by that point in time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I can agree with that as
But
well.
again, I don't see him actually, like, I could see maybe Luffy punching him in the face, like akin to like slapping some sense into him, almost like he did with Vivi and Alabasta, just to be like, hey, like, dude, get your head on straight. This isn't the way things are. Like, you're thinking wrong or something. Like, I don't see like them actually coming to blows. You know what I mean? I don't see Kube beefing with any of the Straw Hats.
Kofi in the chat said it best. Kobe's attack is what he perceives to be honesty, but Luffy's punch is powered by the truth, which it goes exactly with what you're saying now. It's like it could be that case where he gets hit in the face by Luffy to like you said with Vivi, where you got to wake up to this situation and what it actually is, which will be probably very important in the final war if the Marines switch side, because how do you defeat not only the Gorosei, but the God's Knights and everyone else? Like that faction alone, the world government faction, another reason we didn't specifically try to talk about them today is because like just how powerful it is.
So, yeah. And I do have, I'm not going to say a matchup because I think that what's called, that Luffy will I think it's going to be similar to a Rob Lucci moment, or you know, where they're going to Luffy is going to do a callback to a pre-time skip, but just wash him with one attack. I do feel like there's going to be a Smoker versus Luffy fight, because Smoker is one of the people that Luffy has faced who was never able to touch him, and the only time they got a rematch wasn't Punk Hazard, but it was in Tashiki's body. He never fought Luffy back with his real body. So I do feel like, you know, and Smoker was the first Logia that Luffy faced. So I think it would be very telling that we get at least one feat where, you know, oh, I'm much stronger than I was 2 years ago, and then just punches him like Rob Lucci and sends him, you know, showing that now it's clear that Luffy is definitely stronger.
I was going to say, Luffy is just on like such a higher level now. Me and Dak filmed something for the channel recently, and I was telling him, like, you know, it gets me really excited when I see Luffy being called an emperor, but even more so when you see him with that title doing what he's doing now. Like in the anime currently, he's, you know, drop kicking Kizaru when he couldn't even touch the man just 2 years ago, and now he's does what everything he did on Egghead as well, turned the man to pizza and everything. So it's very interesting to try to match him up with anyone.
A lot on Wano, like as the people of Wano started to realize who Luffy was, it was like a realization on me, like, damn man, he's come a long way. Like, people in this world are, you know, they're not ready.
It came to a peak in Wano, and I feel like now we're past that tipping point where he is, like he said, this is my peak on the top of Onigashima. You know what I mean? Like, we're seeing the result of that now. It's very interesting.
And recognition too. I don't know if it was entirely just like the strength, because I always knew Luffy was something special, but it was like people recognizing that he's not to be messed with anymore is super badass. Like, so badass.
Agreed. I think with Roof Piece, it's really interesting because obviously, you know, it took a village to combat Kaido. It wasn't just a 1v1 until at the very end there, right? But like, it's still a crazy triumph for Luffy and just the whole ninja mink samurai alliance as a whole, and with Law and Kid, you know, helping, and like I feel like a lot of people pulled their weight. The craziest thing though is that we immediately get introduced to Green Bull in the post Wano stuff, and Luffy's just chilling. Like, and then now seeing like him, like you said, like drop kicking Kizaru and stuff like that, it really is crazy because we haven't seen him like sweat like even throwing punches at Gorosei and stuff like that. It's crazy how he's not losing momentum. And I think that although I don't think that he's quite at his peak, like Gear 5 is obviously nearing the ceiling, but he doesn't have full control over it yet, kind of like how it still had drawbacks, like when we first saw him using Gear 2nd and Gear 3rd. So there's still a ways to climb, but anybody who is legitimately taking place in the final war, I think is worth, being there. And like, again, it's all fun and games. I love these fellas. This is my crew right here. I love the community, the story of One Piece. But so a whole bunch of the heat, that's just for the bit. But as long as we all know Blackbeard top 1.
Nah, the reason we didn't include Luffy is because that's who's taking Blackbeard out.
It's the only one who can. He's like
that's
legit
our
the
end
only
fight.
one.
Yeah,
That's
Laughs and
legit.
Kube.
However, there is
Okay.
there is a fight between the Blackbeard Pirates and the Straw Hats. Well, Straw Hat and a Blackbeard Pirate, which I think it has to happen, and it's Chopper versus Doc Q. Because Doc Q's out fruit.
Yeah, I agree.
All about Chopper, about curing people. I think just having that fruit and using it on people will be enough for Chopper to say, no, dude, I have to take you out.
Yeah. I could see Chopper like absolutely making a stand against what Doc Q is doing, but Doc Q, again, to go back to what I was saying, is like he's not a 1v. He was introduced giving apples to random bystanders, and like he is, for all intents and purposes, crowd control. He is collateral damage. He's somebody he handles the fodder. He's not cut out for a 1v1. He's even got like a built-in, sidekick in Stronger. Like it's
Donkey Kong
it's
is crazy.
never gonna be it's
BK,
never
that
gonna
was
be
perfect. Hook, line, and sinker, man. I was reading along like, wait, what?
Sorry, Bex.
Yeah, it's never gonna be 1v1 with the Blackbeard Pirates. And I think that's kind of interesting because I don't see a lot of the Straw Hats dealing in 1v1s as we move towards the final saga as well. Obviously with Zoro, there's the Mihawk battle that's been set up, and that's supposed to be like an honorable duel and the code of the Bushido and all of that and whatnot. So that could be a 1v1 for them. And with Luffy, he just kind of gravitates towards fighting the biggest fish, and so I could see that. But for a lot of the rest of the Straw Hats, I don't see straight 1v1s. Like, I don't know if we need that in the final war. I think
Frankie
an
versus
all-out
Jesus
battle
Burgess,
royale.
let's go. Yeah. That's how I think the final war will actually go down. There's just going to be a bunch of small matchups. And like for the Straw Hats even as well, like we'll probably see them literally each speed run like 9 to 10 people. You know what I mean? And like just to show how far they've come, where these people who may have tripped them up in the past, they're just going through them. You know what I mean? And I would love that.
There's a few characters I could see getting 1v1, matchups, but with the Straw Hats and the Blackbeard Pirates specifically, I don't know if I really believe that is how it's going to play out.
Y'all heard it here first. Vex thinks Chopper's taking out Kuzan.
Well,
We all know what's going to happen.
Usopp is going to take out Kuzan. The Firestar, it's the only thing they got to working. No. That's why Frankie breathes fire. It's to take out Kuzan. No.
We spent the past few chapter discussions talking about like how with the Holy Knights, like a coordinated and calculated like teamwork effort is something that we haven't really seen in a minute.
Not
like
since
there's been
Bark.
there's been a few individuals who have worked together and had their powers hand in hand, and like, but I don't know if we've gotten it quite to the level of what we're starting to see in Elbaf, and I can't wait to see how that plays out. In the final war, I think we're going to get a ton of that. Like even maybe cross faction, like we were mentioning how we don't know if all the Marines are going to be punching for the Marines. So it'd be really interesting to see how some of these powers interweave together. Like even it's not necessarily just like your faction versus my faction versus their. It's not like, it could be a little bit more muddy than that. And I'm very interested to see how Oda plays it out,
Yeah, I am as well. I think whatever we get for the final war, it's going to be beyond what we can joke about or what we can even really comprehend in some sense. Just how massive the scale of it will be, the impact it will leave on the rest of the story after it finishes. Oda, just with the little tease, like he said in a statement recently in the past few years that the final war will be 10 times bigger than Marineford, and that was written masterfully.
This is gonna make it look like a kiddie pool or something, and that's crazy because we had individuals who didn't give a shit about like their alliances there, like Boa and Mihawk were just doing whatever they wanted. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
exactly.
And like it's really interesting to think that like that level of chaos is going to be like tenfold, like you said.
Yeah.
So I'm very interested to see who's really batting for who. Like we mentioned with Kuzan, he could completely defect from the Blackbeard Pirates at that point or shortly after, and like we don't know what's going on with Kube. The only faction we're actually very comfortable predicting their play out is the Straw Hats, because we know that they're the main characters, you know. But with everything else, it's really interesting to think about. And this was a cool thought exercise, fun stream where we got to like spit kind of agendas and kind of like actually really
Full agenda.
think about how I was being legit.
Yeah.
I don't know about you,
not.
but I was being 100%.
I
legit.
tried.
Yeah, you and Nat came in all professional and stuff, and I just derailed it. Same with Cube. Sorry, boys.
Bro.
Nonetheless, like Vex said, though, very fun stream. Chat, we want to thank you guys so much for being here today. Channel's been doing really well lately, so if you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We love everybody in our community. It's always good to see everybody in the chat, including new faces as well. With that, though, we have been the Eternal Dawn, and Nak, will you take us off this time?
We'll see y'all till next sunrise.
Question mark?
Question mark.
Bro, that's ominous. What are you doing?
You cut